Start from HTML, follow the head section. Under head section, we will follow a script block of JavaScript. Under the script, again, we will do something. We'll follow the body tag now. Under body tag, we'll write here call h1 HTML and JavaScript. HTML and JavaScript. Inner text and inner HTML. Inner text and inner HTML. Example. Inner text and inner HTML example. Come down. Let's create a button. Inner text. Inner text. Inner will be a small, text will be capital. T will be capital in text. Inner text. Inner will be a small, text T will be capital. In that, what is the use of this inner text property? In HTML, you have two type of tag. One, you have input tag. Through that, you collect the input from user. Another, you have output tag. Through that, you display the output to user. So JavaScript had some different property for input tag, and JavaScript have different property for output tag. For what purpose? To send the data and receive the data. For input tag and output tag, there is a different property in JavaScript. Even the property come from the HTML only, but JavaScript treat in different way both. Now, how that inner text work? Inner text you are going to use only for the output element. Output element, how that works? Suppose in a page you have a paragraph. Paragraph is output element. Division is the output element. Section is the output element. TH, TD, TR, these are all called output element, section tag and all. So in case if you want to dynamically, you want to send some data to the paragraph from the JavaScript. You want to send some kind of text to a division. You want to change the text of a division. You want to change the content of a division in the text format. Then only text, not using HTML code. Inside a paragraph, if you want to change only text content, inside a division, if you want to change only text content, we will be using the inner text property in JavaScript. Okay. In case if you want to change, like you are writing the JavaScript, your JavaScript become dynamic JavaScript, is generating some DHTML, dynamic HTML is creating. Those type of element we can send to the browser using the inner HTML. So that we are going to discuss. Both are inner text and inner HTML, both are for the output element only. Both are for the division paragraph H1, H2, H3 only. Okay, where the way of the behavior will be different, you can say. The behavior will be different. How it will be, this example is going to guide you better. Now write here called inner HTML. Inner HTML. Now for both the button click, we'll call a different function. On click equal to call a function call 1, and here also on click equal to call a function called 2. Function 1 and function 2. Function 1 will help us to understand the inner text, inner HTML. Function 2 will help us inner HTML. Function 1 will help us the inner text. Now come down. We'll follow 1 or 2, maybe we are. I'll create a division here. div id equal to xyz abc anything. Suppose I wrote as abc. Now requirement is on the click of this button, first button, some content should change under the division. Under the second button click, some content should change under the division. Now let's come here and create a variable called maybe my data. So this is going to be a global variable for this file. So if you return a variable out of the function, it will become a global variable that you can access within the function also, out of the function also, anywhere. Global variables. Now come inside. Suppose under this my data variable, we are going to assume like we are going to create a HTML tag and pass some content inside. Welcome to data binding. Close the H1. So this my data variable is not holding only text. It is holding text and tag both. HTML tag as well as some text both. Now this variable we will give to inner text, and we'll understand how the inner text is behaving for that. And the same variable will give to inner HTML, and then we'll understand how it is going to behave for the inner HTML. Let's come inside. You have to write a function one. We can follow the fat arrow function. Come inside. Come inside. Just keep a alert first and check your function is calling or not. Keep a alert first and check your function is calling or not. Right, hope you are written. Let us see now. So I will run this file, data binding one. When I click on first button, hi is coming. That represents the function call is happening well. On HTML click, event got fire, and event fire happened, and then function got called, and then alert is coming. Next, from here onwards, we have to understand next. Let me remove this line alert. Write here a line. Document dot document. So in the term of JavaScript, we have two main library of the JavaScript. You cannot say library directly, but indirectly you should say the library itself. One is called DOM, document object model, and it's associated with the JavaScript. It's not separate. You have to download and install. Another one is called BOM, browser object model and document object model. Browser object model and document object model. Yeah. Now, when you look for the browser object model, that is 0% used in the market. Okay, no one is going to use the browser object model. Browser object model is something complete different than the document object model. Your Angular, your React, your JavaScript, your jQuery, these all are based on DOM, document object model, not based on the BOM, browser object model. One line I will write here based on the BOM feature. You will feel automatically this look like meaningless. It is not going to fulfill our requirement. Now suppose document. When you say the document, what is that? Your current page, where HTML start, where HTML end, in the term of JavaScript, your current page is going to call as a document. In fact, there is a class in JavaScript that's called as a document. That class will represent your HTML open to close. Where HTML open, where HTML close, that is going to call as a document in the term of JavaScript. Now it says like document dot write. Document dot write. That meaning in current page, whatever the contents are there, it will get replaced by something else. What is that? Let's try. Document dot write. Document dot write. Under that, I'll keep this one called as a data. Replace and append. There is a two word. Replace and append. So your this line what we have written, browser object model, it's work based on the replacement system. It's going to work based on replace. And your DOM, what you have, document object model, that work on the append kind of work. Existing data will be there, only new data will get added. Okay. Those we also we can understand. Now let me run this file. So document, what is a document? Is representing a class of the JavaScript where write is a function. Document represent a class of the predefined function of JavaScript where write is a function. Now, if you look in your current page, then you will see where is the document. I am not able to see. Definitely you cannot see because it is the default function of default class of the JavaScript. Then it represent to your current page where HTML start and where HTML end. So start to end become as a document. So the document word what you have written, it's representing the same thing. HTML start to HTML end. So it says document dot write means in current page, replace everything with this my data variable. Replace everything with my data variable. Now what is under the my data variable? Under my data variable, we have h1 open, h1 close. Let me go here. Refresh the page, click on inner text. Inner text, the first line, first button we are written. When I click on that, you can see content of browser got changed completely. In the current document, whatever the content was there, all got replaced by a single line that is called welcome to data binding. Let me replace here and write here again. You can see everything got replaced. So there is nothing, there is no any feature where you are going to do like this. In Facebook, if you see, when you comment to someone, when you write something under the text box and please press on enter button, comment will get appended. When you chat with someone, it's not like entire content will get changed. What will happen? Old content will be there, only new content will get changed, added. Plus maybe some other changes happen, but entire screen content will never change in any of the functionality, any of the project on internet. So you can say BOM, you are not going to follow anywhere. You are going to work based on DOM, document object model. Your React is also based on DOM only. That also create a virtual element inside your. Now let's see what is happening here. Okay. Now document.write function says like the current page, everything got replaced by H1. That we are not going to use anywhere at all. What we want in current page, let me comment this line. In current page, there is one element. In current page, there is so many element. Example, head, script, body, H1, both the buttons, both the BR, the division, all are called as element only. All are called as element in the term of JavaScript. Okay. What we wanted in current document where HTML start and where HTML end, there is an element that's ID is called ABC. There is an element, the ID is called ABC. We will call a function from JavaScript DOM library and we will ask the function to check in current page if ABC element is exist, then under the ABC element send some content. Don't replace the content of entire screen. Okay, don't replace the content of entire page. Find out a particular element, find out a particular tag. If the particular tag is exist, then for the particular tag apply a particular element. For a particular tag apply the particular content. Okay, so we are going to write here one line. What is that? Document. Then you will ask what is this document, how we can understand. So simple, you can say your current page is going to be point out a class, that class name is called document. Or you can say where HTML start, where HTML end, it's become a entire area from beginning to end is called as a document. Now inside this document, okay, inside this document, again as I told you, document is just for understanding purpose. We are saying HTML start to end is called as a document, but document is a predefined class of your JavaScript. Now under the document, there is a function called get element by ID. Okay, there is a function called get element by ID. We are going to apply for this current document. That's called get element by ID. Element by ID. So we are applying a function called get element by ID on current document, and we are asking the get element by ID to find out a element, which element whose ID is ABC. If it is exist, then under that element assign some value using inner text. Assign some value using inner text. And what is that value? Value is called my data. Value is called my data. So hope you understood this line. What is that? In current page, we are applying a function. Function name is called get element by ID, like search element by ID. Now which element? The ID is called ABC. So current document, it will look for those elements, those tags whose ID is ABC. If ABC found, then apply the inner text property, and using inner text property pass some content. Content is stored under the my data variable. This happened for the inner text. Let me copy this and paste again here. Right here called function 2. Under the function 2 variable will be same, my data only, but instead of inner text, we can apply as a inner HTML. Instead of inner text, we will be applying as a inner HTML. Now function 2 is going to apply the inner HTML, and function 1 is going to apply the inner text. Content is same, location is same. Content is under the data variable and location is the ABC element in your current HTML page. Now let us go to the browser and understand how this communication is going to happen. So we got the original content. Now in that, we will use the inner text. You can see here, H1 is showing just like the H1 only. H1 is showing just like the H1. H1 shows just like the H1, where inner HTML is showing as a H1 not as a text in the form of HTML. So inner text property is able to parse your HTML code and give you the actual output of HTML, whereas inner text used to send only text data in the browser or collect text data from browser. It will work in the both way, either sending or receiving. Inner text. HTML also will help you to send and receive, but both will be for the different purpose. Inner text will help you to send only text data. HTML will help you to send the HTML and text data both together. So that is here. Right? So hope you got some idea. What is that? Inner text, what it will work? Inner text will send the data in the form of text, whereas inner HTML will send the data in the form of inner HTML. Button click how to write the function, we have idea. Document is nothing but your current page. Get element by ID is nothing but a predefined function from JavaScript DOM library. We are calling the library function and we are asking To check in current page, there is an element called ABC. If ABC element is available, then for that either send through the inner text or send through the inner HTML. Okay. Next, after that, save it. See, inner text, inner HTML, inner text, inner HTML. You can add some more element here. Add one p tag. Add some text data. Add something without p tag, without any text. Then see once. Okay, hope we are checking. Please check once. It's work for all. You can try also in your system if you are writing. Okay, let us come to the next now. Inner text and inner HTML. So using inner text, suppose if you are using the inner text property, if you are using the inner text property to bind some content in the browser, make sure your content should not hold the HTML tag. Make sure your content should not hold the HTML tag. Okay. Make sure the content should not hold the HTML content tag. If it is holding HTML tag, then what will happen? If it is hold HTML tag, then we should not use the inner, we should not use the inner text, we should use the inner HTML. Okay, and if your content is holding only text, if your content is holding only text without any tag and all, no need to follow the inner HTML. You can follow inner text itself. Okay, now we'll create the next file. Next file will be similar data binding to where we will play with the input and output using inner text. And another thing, make sure the inner text and inner HTML you are not going to use anywhere for input element. It is only for the output element like division, paragraph, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. Not for the text box and password, radio button, checkbox and file. Okay, it is especially for the output element. It is especially for the output element. Come next, data binding to.html. HTML we can start, we can follow, head also, open close, style also, open close. Not a style, a script. H1 JavaScript input and output. JavaScript input and output. Example. Taking the value and giving the output. Now let's go here. Create a p tag where you write enter your name. Enter your name. Next, after that, create a text box. ID equal to any ID. Now come down. Button also. So my name. Okay, ready? Next, after that, come down below, write one h1 tag, ID equal to my name. Now here what we are going to do? We will ask the user to enter the value one place. When he will enter the value one place, we will take the value and will display at another place. So that will become a input and output. Input at one place and output at another place. Both will be the part of HTML only. Keep a question mark here. Save it. is like this. Whenever we enter the name here, suppose I enter the name called Bangalore. So input happen. Now we'll click on show button. We will call the JavaScript. JavaScript will take the value from the text box and give to the H1. So while taking the value from the text box, JavaScript will use the dot value property, and while giving back to the H1, JavaScript will use as a inner text. Why? Because JavaScript is going to take the value from the input tag and JavaScript is going to give the value to the output tag. So at this both the place, the property name must be different. If the property will name remains same, then what will happen? JavaScript will not communicate from both. Let us go now. On click here. So you will take the value from where? F name, and it will display where? Under the my name. Now both are the different element, and for both the element we are given the ID. So using the get element by ID function, easily we can find the F name and we can take their value. And again using get element by ID function, easily we can find the my name and we can send them as a text. On click you will write here, call the function call one. Hope ready. Now write a function one. Now here you have to create a variable called name equal to document dot get element by ID. Document dot get element by ID. Which ID? F name. Now what F name is pointing to? Is it pointing to the input tag or output tag? So F name is an input tag. So for that inner text you will not use, you will use as a dot value property. So once you do dot value, the value of this current element that is called F name will go to the name variable. From there, for confirmation purpose, you can keep a alert here as a name. After doing the alert again, the next line should be use the document only dot get element by ID, which ID? My name. Dot inner text equal to that name variable. So you can see here, this line is taking the value from the text box. Take value from text box. This is assigned as a text to H1. Hope ready. Okay, so let me see how that is going to work. So let's go here. Suppose enter the name as a Bangalore. Click on this. Alert is coming as a Bangalore, and then do here. See it's happening here. Bangalore came, right? Bangalore changes a Mumbai. Click on show my name. Alert will come. After that, so as a Mumbai. Right? So hope it's happening. Whichever the value you enter over there, that value should display. Now let's copy the same example, paste in. So here what we implemented, dot value. Dot value is suitable for all the input element and inner text is suitable for all the output element. Copy this, paste in the next file, give call data binding 3. In data binding 3, alert you can remove from here and button also you can remove. Button also you can remove. Don't keep button here. And on key up. On key up. On key up equal to call the function one. On key up equal to call the function one. So whenever you type any character, immediately while typing itself, okay, while typing itself, on key up will happen. You will press a key, you will leave the key. As soon as you leave the key, this function will call. This function will take the value of f name, and same time the function will give the value to my name. Again you will press the next character, same function will call. It will take the value of again f name and give to the my name. So it will fill like immediately. As soon as you pass the value, as soon as you type the value, immediately your value will appear under the browser. Okay, so let me go here and see once. In the second file, this should be data binding 3. You type here anything, immediately you can see here value is coming directly in the down. Immediately, whichever you type, then just go through this. It'll come in 1 minute. Okay, so hope you are able to see that how it is happening on change. Whenever we not on change, on key up, whenever we type anything under this, the function will call, event will fire, function will call, function will take the current value, and the current value will pass to the my name using inner HTML. So we will remember, if you want to take the value or you want to assign the value to a inner to a input tag. So for input tag you will follow dot value property, and for output tag you will follow inner HTML or inner text. In both we have to choose anything. Okay, come next. Next file we can create. Next file we will be working on input tag only, but based on some other property. Not only dot value remains same, inner text will be remain same, and we will add one more property from the JavaScript side for the, that is for the input tag. We will create next file, data binding 3. Already there 4 you can create. Data binding 4.html. In data binding 4 file, let's remove this content from the JavaScript and remove the content from the HTML also. JavaScript input tag, output tag. Okay, let's write one. Div tag. Under the div tag, you can use a text area. Text area open and text area close. For this text area, give ID address 1. Rows equal to, row represent the height. Suppose 10, not 10, 7 rows. Calls equal to 40. Placeholder, enter local address. enter local address. Now copy the same division, paste again below. Address to permanent address. Next, after that, if we run this file, it will show us two big text area. Both are very nearby. We are going to give some gap between both. Now write here one, maybe p tag you can write. Input type equal to checkbox. Same as above. Okay, same as above. Is here same as above. If we check the checkbox, the functionality is something. Suppose I enter call Marathale. If I check the checkbox, the value of first text area should go to the second text area. Okay, if we uncheck the checkbox, then what should happen? Second text area should become clear. If we uncheck it, second text area should become clear. If we checked it, the first text area value should go to the second text area. So here you are going to identify how to understand the checkbox is checked or not. How to identify the checkbox is checked or not. Okay, so let us go. Give ID equal to maybe anything ABC. On click equal to call a function call 1. On click equal to call a function call 1. Now in function 1, we need to find out The checkbox is checked or not. Write var address document dot get element by id document dot get element by id, which id, address one dot value. Now variable my check, you will write here document dot get element by id, which id, abc dot checked. You will write here now alert my check. Alert my check. Now let's go run the page and click on checkbox and then follow the alert ones. Then follow the alert ones. What is coming alert? If you check the checkbox, if you check the checkbox, it will come as a true. If you uncheck the checkbox, it will come as a false. For example, if I click here, true is coming. If you uncheck that, false has come. So this is applicable for radio button and checkbox. In radio button and checkbox, based on ID, you cannot find whether it's checked or not. So you have to use a property called checked property. Especially for radio button and checkbox, we have to use a property called which property? Checked property. We have to use a property called checked property. Checked property will return true or false. Checked property will return true or false. Now, based on this true and false, we can understand whether it is checked or unchecked. Now, let's go. If my check double equal to true, that meaning user had checked that. Then, under the address to dot value equal to address value, else as a empty value. Else empty value. Try this. This should work properly. Now let me show you as well. Suppose I enter for the Bangalore. Marathali. Check it. Came here and check gone. So that is called how to understand the checkbox is checked or not. Now based on checked or unchecked, you can do some functionality and you can display inside the page. Okay, let us see here. Any address, right? From any text, right? Should work properly. It's coming, going, coming, going. Okay, so let us see next. Working or not working? Have you tried? We should try it. It's helpful only. Okay, no problem. We can go ahead. Next example. Try will help you a lot. Try. Only work of developer. Developer, they'll try full day. Work will be done. Next file will be based on one drop down function with parameter. Okay, next example will be with a drop down where we can use if function with a small parameter. So let's create next file, data binding 5. We can take copy of this file. We can remove most of the portion. Data binding 5, we can remove this all. Here also remove the function. Let it be like this. Now write one. What is your city name? Your city name. Select from drop down. Option on change equal to call the function one. Inside will pass this dot value, the value of current option. Something like this. Choose. Value equal to empty. Second choose. Value equal to Bangalore. Mumbai. Pune. Chennai. Pune. Chennai. Now, after selecting the option from drop down, their value will come. Write one H1 here. ID equal to my city. Put a question mark by default. Ready? Now come up. You are calling the function one. Under the function one, you pass this dot value. This will come under this one as a city name. City name. And from city name, we can send to my city. Saying like document dot get element by ID which id dot inner text equal to city name. Now whichever the city name you will give, that city name will be assigned to the my city. When on change, whenever we change any option from drop down, immediately it will happen. Hope ready. Let us run this file. Change Bangalore. So it's so Bangalore here. Mumbai, so it's so Mumbai. Some error happen inside. This dot value on change. On change equal to function one, this dot value of this function one is here. City name, okay, spelling is wrong. CITYNAME, city name. Now it should come proper. Check now. Just like this. Whenever we change the option, value will change the option. This is all about the basic part of your data binding, understanding the property and passing the value, right? Again, we'll sit on next Saturday for data binding only, but it will be based on array. We will store the data in array. We will read from there and send to the browser. Again, we'll work on many types of array, but on next week. Let's see you. Okay, so hope working.